Hey guys, it's Rebecca. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an extraterrestrial contactee, a galactic channeler, and a psychic medium. I also work in the Akashic Records. Today, we are going to talk about dark energy or malevolent beings that we hear about in the spiritual community. Some people refer to this as the deep state or the cabal. I'm not going to get too into detail, but there are some messages that came through about this that I think are really important to share with those of us who are on the ascension path. So let's talk about some of the more well-known groups of these malevolent beings, which are the Reptilians and the Beta Reticuli, or also known as the Greys. So as with any race or species, whatever word you want to use, there are always going to be light and dark aspects to those races. The same as we have with humans. We have lighter humans who are standing in the light and darker humans who are standing in the dark, denser places, energetically speaking. So there are good reptilians who have our best interests in mind, same with the Beta Reticuli or the Greys. And there are beings, reptilian beings, gray beings, who do not have our best interests in mind. They have their own interests in mind. So you could say that they are more service to self beings, or polarized service to self, versus being service to others, having the best interest of others in mind. I definitely have seen these beings involved in some of the deep state related stories that I've looked at in the Akashic Records. So for example, I see these races involved in the royal family. I see them involved in the cabal, in some of the more economically prosperous families, we'll say, on the planet. I'm not going to name names because I want this video to be able to stay up. And of course, if you're from TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. So the interesting thing about these beings is that from a human perspective, I feel energetically a lot of fear and a lot of distaste and anger and even hatred towards these beings. And this is not, when we are taking on these emotions, we are not coming from a place of unconditional love. We are coming from a place of wounding. We are coming from a place, when there is fear, when there is anger, when there is resentment, when there is judgment, that's the place that we are coming from. And if you're on the ascension path, that's the place we're trying to move out of. Those are the densities that we're trying to release as we move through our healing and our shadow work. And from the perspective of the guides, and I've adopted this perspective really completely, and there's a lot of freedom in it, is that we are open to receiving these beings back into the light. There is an invitation that is open-ended and always available. And on another level, I am also feeling deep compassion for these beings that have moved so far away from source energy that they have polarized into this service to self, not having the best interest of others in mind, and are doing some really harmful things, harmful to themselves and very harmful to others. And we can see that what's happening on the planet is a direct result of these beings, not just these beings, but humans as well. There's a huge role, if not the main role, of humans in this. And I feel such compassion because anytime we are experiencing feelings or thoughts that cause us to act in ways that are harmful to others, we are wounded. We are not coming from a place of source love and unconditional love and support and compassion. We're coming from a place of wounding. And when we are wounded, we are in pain, emotional pain. And for those of you who are watching, I am absolutely sure that you have experienced deep emotional pain, distress, depression, anger, anxiety, trauma. That is the most uncomfortable place for a human being to be, for any being to be in. And I have a deep level of compassion for these people. Do I agree, or these beings, do I agree with what they're doing? No, absolutely not. But I don't get to have a say in the ways in which their soul is playing out whatever incarnation they are specifically in at the time. What I do get to do, though, is work on raising my own vibration so that adds to the collective energy, and we can transcend this denser energy that we're seeing on the planet right now. There are lots of specific events and decision making that I have seen by some of these darker service to self beings that are extraterrestrial beings that are here on our planet and also working off planet for that agenda. I will, like, I'm always very cautious about what specifically to talk about on these platforms. I will probably get more into them on my Patreon because I can speak really freely there about what I see. But the overall agenda, like, why is the world in the state that it's in right now? Why is our planet in this state? And it is because it is being run by these darker forces, these darker energy beings. And it goes well beyond just reptilians and beta reticuli, like much, much further beyond that. I believe there's non-physical beings that are also dark and involved. The Archon is what they are commonly referred to, what I see referred to in the Akashic records. And so what do they want with us? Do they just want to harm us and keep us, unhappy? No, there is a motivation here to use our energy because the majority of us are in the light. We are standing in that light, high vibrational energy. And because they have removed themselves so far from source, they don't have access to that energy. And that energy allows us to manifest and create. And the further you move away from source, the less access to that creative, high vibrational energy you have. So in some way, and I don't understand the full mechanics of this, I think it's quite complicated. They're using frequency, vibration, and technology, and there's some AI in there also, where they are harnessing our light energy. And the way that we are giving permission for them to do that is by not giving permission. So we are being kept in a fear state prison planet so that they can harness our energy to meet their own ends. So we're just kind of an energy source. They don't have the intention, let's harm humans, no, but if humans are harmed, if the planet is harmed in the process of meeting their own ends, then that's okay, because they're not in service to others. They're not concerned about the harm that it causes others if their needs are not met. Their needs need to be met first. So that is the general picture that I see with some of these beings. But the most important thing to keep in mind is that there is always light and dark in any collective. There are definitely certain races where there is a heavier service to self energy than service to others, but that's true on the other end as well. So like the Pleiadians, for example, are a large majority service to others. But there's always going to be some bad seeds, and that is I don't even like to use the term bad seeds because it's almost as if I'm saying that they're intrinsically bad seeds, and we're not. We all come from the same source energy. We all come from the vibration of unconditional love. We are born of that energy when we fractal off of source. So we are all equal. It's the experiences that the soul has and the choices that we make, conscious and some subconscious, unconscious choices, that determine how we present in a particular incarnation. And the collective lifetimes that we've had and the general energy within each lifetime, those all added up is the sum of who we are in this incarnation. So the star seeds, for example, have lived in high vibrational incarnations and experienced that energy lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, which is why we are here leading the denser energetic beings into the light. And that includes beings like the reptilians and the beta reticuli and the others, the grays that we have seen sort of in the spiritual community painted in that negative light. That doesn't mean that we don't have to clear our energy and shield our energy and get grounded around these denser energetic beings. We certainly do, but that doesn't mean we don't have to put a boundary down that says, I don't like you. The boundary can simply be, you cannot pass, you cannot come into my energy. I'm putting this boundary down with love and compassion, but I'm also shielding myself from that energy because it's low vibration. Low vibrational energy for someone that's vibrating quite a bit higher is uncomfortable. It can also be, like, I've experienced it as actually traumatic to my energy body. Like, it almost feels like I have experienced trauma when I'm experiencing that lower vibrational energy. And like any of you who've dealt with attachments or entities that you've had to have removed from your energy field, you'll know what that experience is like. It's like this trauma to your energy body. So if you guys have more specific questions, I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments below. I may or may not answer them on here. If I don't answer them on here, I will answer them on my Patreon. You can find my Patreon information in the pinned video in my profile. So I love each and every one of you very much. If you made it to the end, thank you, and happy ascension.